White Collar Season 6 begins with the kind of trouble that does not arrive all at once. It gathers in quiet choices, old wounds, and people who think they can control danger until danger starts controlling them. This season follows people under pressure, and it turns their world into a test of loyalty, fear, and survival. The story is tense, emotional, and built for momentum. Every victory leaves a mark, every secret creates a new threat, and by the end, the characters are not the same people we met at the start. At the center of the season is Neal's final undercover operation, where earning freedom means outsmarting the most dangerous thieves he has ever joined. The early episodes take time to show what each character wants before the plot begins tightening around them. Some want family. Some want power. Some want freedom. Some only want the truth, even when the truth is the most dangerous thing in the room. That is what gives the season its drive. It is not just about what happens next. It is about how far each person is willing to go once the easy way out disappears. The story first moves through Neal being pulled into the Pink Panther case. The criminals who kidnapped Neal are tied to an elite theft network called the Pink Panthers. This matters. The Bureau needs Neal inside because no ordinary undercover agent can pass as one of them. Instead of giving everyone a clean answer, the season lets the pressure build. Then Neal sees a final path toward freedom. From that point forward, the characters understand that the problem is bigger than one argument or one bad decision. It is a chain reaction, and each new choice pulls them deeper into it. The pacing stays strong because the scene is not isolated. It becomes a doorway into the next danger, while also showing what the characters are trying hardest to protect. From there, the season shifts toward Peter negotiating Neal's future. Peter pushes for a deal that would release Neal if the Panthers are brought down. The important part is not only the event itself, but the way it changes the balance of power. The promise matters because years of partnership are finally supposed to lead somewhere. Then Neal agrees, but keeps his own plans close. The story has moved into darker territory, and the characters have to react before they are ready. This keeps the season from feeling still, because even quiet moments carry the sense that someone is losing ground. The pressure is emotional first, then practical. The next major stretch follows Matthew Keller returning again. Keller appears inside the same criminal world, as charming and dangerous as ever. On the surface, it feels like one more obstacle, but it exposes what the characters are afraid to admit. He represents the version of Neal that never wanted redemption. Then their rivalry becomes part cooperation and part threat. The season makes it clear that survival will require more than courage. It will require sacrifice, trust, and choices that cannot be undone. The best part is how the conflict keeps narrowing. What started as a broad problem now lands directly on the people who least want to face it. As the season keeps moving, Woodford and the Panthers testing Neal becomes impossible to ignore. The Panthers demand skill, nerve, and loyalty before letting Neal deeper into the operation. This part of the story works because it puts emotion beside danger. Every test risks exposing him and destroying the Bureau case. Then Neal proves himself while feeding information to Peter. The conflict becomes personal in a way that none of them can simply walk away from. It also gives the recap a stronger rhythm, because the audience can feel the story changing shape. The characters are no longer reacting to rumors or distant threats. They are living inside the consequences. The middle of the season tightens around Mozzie sensing the final con. Mozzie supports Neal but recognizes patterns that suggest Neal is planning something beyond the official mission. Everyone is trying to hold on to control, but the facts keep changing. Their friendship is built on trust without full disclosure. Then Mozzie helps because he believes in Neal even when he worries. The story stops feeling like a mystery from a distance and starts feeling like a direct threat to the people at the center of it. This is where motives become sharper. The season starts asking who is acting out of love, who is acting out of fear, and who is using both as an excuse. After that, Peter and Elizabeth preparing for their child pushes the season into its next phase. Elizabeth's pregnancy gives Peter a future outside constant danger. The characters begin to see that the real enemy is not always the person standing in front of them. The baby raises the emotional stakes, because Peter has more to lose than a case. Then Neal sees the family he must protect by ending the Panther threat. The season raises the cost again and forces everyone to choose a side. The momentum comes from watching private choices become public damage. A secret that once felt manageable now affects families, friendships, careers, and the future everyone thought they were building. The tension grows through the Federal Reserve heist plan. The Panthers target a massive score requiring timing, access, and absolute confidence. What makes this section important is the way it reveals hidden motives. The operation is the kind of impossible theft Neal was born to understand. Then the Bureau prepares to catch the crew without losing Neal inside it. The season has stripped away the safer explanations and left the characters facing the truth they were trying to avoid. That truth does not arrive gently. It changes how earlier scenes feel, because actions that seemed random now look planned, and kindness can start to look like strategy. Then the story turns toward Keller complicating the escape. Keller wants survival and profit, not noble sacrifice, and he knows how Neal thinks. This is where earlier mistakes start coming back with force. His presence makes every step unstable, because betrayal is always available. Then Neal adjusts his plan around Keller's selfishness. The characters realize that protecting themselves and protecting the people they love may not be the same thing anymore. The season uses this conflict to keep the narration moving cleanly from cause to effect. Nothing feels separate now. Every decision has a shadow, and every shadow points toward the ending. Near the final stretch, the heist unfolding takes over. The operation moves through deception, transport, and hidden coordination between Neal and Peter. The season uses this pressure to connect the personal stakes with the larger conflict. It works because Neal can think like a criminal while choosing the side of his friends. Then the Panthers are finally exposed. There is no more room for delay. The only thing left is the showdown everyone has been moving toward. This section matters because it turns tension into direction. The characters may still be afraid, confused, or divided, but the story has made retreat impossible. The climax builds from Neal staging his death. Keller shoots Neal during the final moves, and the scene convinces Peter that Neal is dying. Every secret that has been buried now has a consequence. The grief is real, because Peter has come to love Neal like family. Then Neal's death is accepted as the cost of stopping the Panthers. The season delivers its final blow, and the characters have to live with the damage left behind. What gives the ending force is that the answer does not erase the pain. It explains the path, reveals the motive, and leaves the survivors to carry what the truth has taken from them. In the aftermath, Peter finding the final clues gives the ending its shape. A year later, Peter notices details that do not fit and follows them to a storage container. The victory, if there is one, does not feel clean. The evidence reveals that Neal planned the death, studied how to fake it, and left a trail only Peter could understand. Then Peter realizes Neal is alive. The season closes with a sense that the story has ended, but the emotional cost will keep echoing. The final stretch works because it does not pretend that solving the main conflict repairs every wound. It simply shows who remains, what has changed, and what can never return to normal. The story first moves through Paris as the last image. Neal walks free in Paris, finally outside the anklet, the Bureau, and the old chase. This matters. The ending is bittersweet because he gains freedom by leaving the people who changed him. Instead of giving everyone a clean answer, the season lets the pressure build. Then Peter smiles through the loss, understanding that Neal's final con was also a gift. From that point forward, the characters understand that the problem is bigger than one argument or one bad decision. It is a chain reaction, and each new choice pulls them deeper into it. The pacing stays strong because the scene is not isolated. It becomes a doorway into the next danger, while also showing what the characters are trying hardest to protect. White Collar Season 6 ends by bringing its biggest ideas back to Neal faking his death and beginning again in Paris. The season is about freedom, friendship, sacrifice, and the perfect con as a goodbye, but it is also about the price of believing you can outrun consequences. The final moments do not erase what came before. They leave the story with weight, giving the audience a clear ending while still letting the emotional fallout linger. By the time the season closes, The characters have fought for what mattered most to them, and the world around them has changed for good. What keeps the season moving is the way every character has a reason to keep pushing forward. No one is just standing still and waiting for the plot to arrive. They make choices, hide pain, protect pride, and sometimes confuse love with control. That makes the recap feel like a steady fall down a hill, because each scene creates the next problem before the last one has been solved. The season also works because its conflicts do not come from nowhere. The danger grows out of old decisions, family bonds, fear, greed, shame, and the need to be seen. That gives the ending more force. When the final turn arrives, it feels earned because the story has been laying the ground for it from the beginning. That is why the final stretch lands with more weight than a simple twist. The ending is not only a solution to the plot. It is a judgment on the choices that brought everyone there. Some characters earn peace, some earn punishment, and some are left with a future that feels less certain than the one they wanted. The story stays easy to follow because each choice leads clearly into the next problem, and every final turn grows from what came before.